Merry Christmas, everyone. There will be no movie news this week. Not to say that some movie news didn't come out, it's just there really isn't anything worth talking about right now for me to really cover. So instead, I figured I'd bring you my top 5 Christmas films. I'm about time for me to bring my top 5 out this month, and the house is all decorated. Let's lift that up. Let's see, there's light. Let's follow the lights. So where the lights going? Where does the light go? It goes to a Christmas tree with gifts in a Christmas town. Isn't that just dandy, folks? And I did all that myself. Well, okay, my sister actually helped decorate the tree, but I set up most of this. Now, yeah, we try to get festive in the house. We love Christmas, and I got my hat on. We have Christmas. I like Christmas time. I really do. I personally feel I'm one of the people who does still feel the whole Christmas spirit thing going on. I like the idea of giving. I even like the shopping part of it. It is fun to try to, if you don't have a list out, find something you believe someone would like and, give it to them and see their reaction and see the smile on their face when if they like it, which you hope they do. I assume everyone I've gotten gifts for this year are going to like their gifts. And of course, it's given us a lot of good movies. There's a lot of good Christmas movies out there. There's some crappy ones, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna lie. My top 5 list has some movies that might be considered crappy. But let's be clear, this is my top 5 favorite Christmas films. Who cares what other people think in this case. If you like them, great. If you don't like them, whatever. I'm not gonna hate you for them, because I can completely understand why you might not like some of the ones I like. And lo and behold, I've got to try not to be distracted by the TV because Scrooged is on with Bill Murray, which I really like that. And I'm currently read The Ghost of Christmas Present, who's a fairy. It's been years since I've watched this. Anyway, so yeah, on to the list. So my number 5 favorite Christmas movie is gonna probably piss some people off. Now, I love both versions of this movie, and I'll honestly say that I think the first one, it didn't have to be made into a live action movie. It was completely fine by the short animated feature it was. And you might be able to guess what it is. It's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It's the Jim Carrey one. You hate me if you want for that. I really actually like that movie a bit. And now there's parts of it I don't like. There's parts of a lot of the movies on the list I have here that I don't like. But that doesn't mean I don't enjoy it. I like the feel of the movie. I like Jim Carrey as this character, because if you weren't, besides a few facial movements, like when he does that weird grin he does, like that weird Grinch grin he does that one. I can't remember how he did exactly, or I can't do it, but you can tell it's Jim Carrey. But other than that, though, you would not be able to necessarily know it was Jim Carrey. He's fun. He really is. He's got a lot of energy. He looks like what you think a live action Grinch would look like, and he's got some just fun jokes in there. He does. I mean, the scene where he's stealing Christmas, and not only is that fun, it's also pretty close to the book and the short special. That's pretty damn close from what I can remember. I did like Cindy Lou. Well, I kind of liked Cindy Lou. She didn't need to sing at all. And even with the whole, spirit of Christmas, there are some times where she's really not. She's really too optimistic and blindsided. But whatever. The Grinch having a love interest, whatever. I didn't care about that much. Now, I will say, I didn't care about seeing the Grinch's past. That thing I didn't need. But, him, the dog I got to play Max was pretty actually well trained and pretty fun. I like the fact the mayor's a dick who was like mean to the Grinch, and the Grinch finally gets him back. I did like that. There's a couple. I'll give this credit. This is one of the live action or like the film adaptation Dr. Seuss movies that did not use a great deal of pop culture references. I mean, there was the whole Steven Spielberg reference, I think, the director's reference where he's directing Max. There's there's in one of the extended features. There's hey. He's like, where's your gift? He's like, I bought it online, or something like that. He's like, there's a couple jokes like that, but I don't think it's anything extreme. And there's a few good jokes, like when he is in Hootown running amok, he's just like, taxi! And just keeps going, it's because I'm green, isn't it? And you know what? There's a great line. I actually will honestly say there's a good line, I personally think. It's like when he's talking to Cindy Lou, because I'm okay with Cindy Lou, but like I said, she 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 goes back and forth for me. She's at times she's really nice and kind and sweet and thinks sees the good in the Grinch and all this stuff, which eventually he obviously has. But there's other times where I think she's a bit naive about what's going on, who this guy is, kind of right now. And the line I love about that is just when he basically just gives her that glass of water and just stares at bed. It's like, go on to bed, and just like, don't forget the grin. It's like, ugh. It's like, sweet kid, bad judge of character. And he just goes and steals all their shit. I thought that was actually hilarious myself. No, I didn't see this in the theater. I'm glad I didn't see it in the theater. I mean, I probably would have enjoyed it fine. I think I probably would have enjoyed it about as much as I do right now. But I'm glad I didn't see it in theater personally. I just don't think I would have needed to. Um, but yeah, so that's my number 5. My number 4 one. This is gonna be a little embarrassing. Just fuck it. Who cares? This is my list. It's Ernest Saves Christmas. I know. I know. I'm not overly fond of the Ernest movies myself. Ernest Saves Christmas, I think, is the only one I kind of actually like. Okay, it's the only one I think I actually do like. And it is mostly for the guy who plays Santa Claus, Douglas Seal, who did voice the Sultan in Aladdin. He does he did a lot of voiceover work, and he was in he had a decent film career. But the minute this guy starts talking, you're like, first off, I'm like, Lizzie started talking, like, oh, it's the Sultan. And then I'm just like, you are one of the sweetest, most puppy dog people I've ever seen. I just see Santa when I look at him. He's just a sweet guy who wants to give and help people. even even when he's just like irate, you can tell he's just so almost adorable in the way he talks. And also, he just kind of captures kind of what Santa would really feel like to me. I mean, I've seen other Santas which are just as fun, but I mean, that scene where he just kind of encompasses the spirit of Christmas, particularly when he's literally in a jail cell full of hardened criminals, and he's got them all at the end believing he's Santa, which he is, and singing Christmas carols, and I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. But there's some good likability of this. Ernest for what he is, he's not an idiot. He's just kind of naive and unaware at points. He's still likable in that sense, though. He's trying to do good. He's not actually an idiot. I wouldn't say he's an idiot. He's just a little not aware of what he's doing wrong sometimes. Um, but he is for one reason or another likable. And then of course you got those two guys who always show up and doing their cameos. I got the guys who doing that. I think I can't do it. Obviously, all they did was speed up. I assume that all they did was speed up the film. If that guy could do that literally, I'd hate to see what that was like. Oof. Like, well, so what was it like doing that on the set? Like my eyes bled after every take. I had to do 54 of them. And then they got the kid, who I can't remember what the girl's name was. She was all right. We had Anthony Bourdain was in there. I forget Anthony Bourdain is in there. He was like the manager of the guy who was basically taking over for Santa. And the guy was taking over for Santa. He was really likable. He looked like Santa when he actually was like full blown Santa. I don't know exactly. That was one thing I always wondered how that worked. Is that you became Santa? So you basically gave up your home address, everything like that, everything that's still there. So he's got to just fly by his house every now and then. He's like, oh, I'm in the neighborhood, and see that. And you see the mail of eviction, the eviction notices piling up. Missing persons go out and all that for him. So I don't know. Does the previous Santa take care of that when affecting the whole Santa space-time continuum thing? I mean, for that matter, how old is Santa? How long is it until you have to give up the mantle? They never go into this. They just say that Santa's been the Santa we got, the one in the movie, was doing it for a little too long. Now it's at risk of never being done again. So I don't know. I still like it. It's really kind of a guilty pleasure kind of thing, but whatever. So my number 3 is a movie from 2001. Now this movie, it wasn't in theaters from what I remember. It was mostly just on Disney Channel TV and all that stuff. It's called 'Twas the Night. It's got Bryan Cranston in it, and Bryan Cranston plays Nick. Oh God, I can't remember their name, but basically he plays this guy, and he's here. It's been so long since I watched the movie. But I remember I remember all of the like main points. He's basically like a computer programmer hacker who gets in with the wrong people. He's hiding out at his like brother's house. Santa comes in, and they end up knocking him out. So they end up having to go and be Santa for the evening. And along the way he's basically taking stuff to like pay off his debt and be happy and all this stuff. His nephew is kind of sees this and he's upset and they obviously reconciliation all that. I like this movie. First of all, Bryan Cranston basically is never bad at anything. Even the movies that are not that good. Like I know Rock of Ages is not that good. The remake of Total Recall was not that good, but I still like Bryan Cranston in those scenes. And I like Rock of Ages. I know it's not that good, but I like Rock of Ages. That's a different movie entirely. But Bryan Cranston's still good. He does play a likable kind of douche. Cause he is really just thinking about himself half the time until the very end, and then when the whole realization of shit hitting the fan is just like I also don't know if Bryan Cranston can really play the guitar that well because basically one of the things is he wanted a guitar, he never got the guitar. He could have been great, and he was like a great guitarist. He's been on the Nines for life up until this point. So he, at the end of the movie, obviously Santa gives him his guitar. And he's just like, wow. And he's just like, I gotta sell this off. And he's like, he's obviously showing that he's matured, but he can't sell it off. So it's like he tries to play a song, and it's like, and then. He's just rocking out the guitar. I'm like, can Bryan now that I'm thinking on it in later years, can Bryan Cranston actually play the guitar and like that well? I would be totally down if he can, because Bryan Cranston is awesome. If he's multi-talented, by all means, man, we love you, Bryan. But you know what? The guy, I marked down some names. I forgot to write the name of the guy who played Santa down. He is really likable, actually. He is. The way Santa works in this universe is that he's got this little device that shrinks and grows his presence, so it's easy compact traveling. And he's it's also got the feature of freezing time and place. So they like go to a party and they're just like taking food and stuff to like give to the poor because that's what the kid wants to do. And he's just like he's stealing stuff at the moment, and then he's like takes some champagne, boop, boop, boop. And then when they unfreeze time, obviously it gets spilled on his face and all that stuff. I liked it. It's a good kind of moral story. Moral story. It's a good story with a good moral. Yeah, you can do some wrong, but there's always chance for redemption. There's always chance to do right, and if you do, maybe it's something you can possibly have a dream come true in the end. Because Bryan Cranston's character Nick does come to the realization he was wrong, and he's making amends. And he makes amends with Santa. Who again, I like Santa. Santa ends up getting in a fight with gangsters and wins by tickling them. Never throwing one punch, just tickling them. I don't know. I just love this movie. I really do. Now these last two, all this is like some of my favorite Christmas movies. These last two, I legitly watch every year. These are like my top two, technically three, favorite Christmas movies. My first favorite Christmas movie is 1954. Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, White Christmas. That is just, we watch that every year, Christmas Eve. That is without a doubt my second favorite Christmas movie of all time. It really is. The music is just, there is nothing you can say about the music that hasn't already been said. It's just, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. The crooner as best. But then Danny Kaye, you're like, we used to have a conversation on, we would Danny Kaye or Bing Crosby talent. And where I'd like to have Bing Crosby's voice, which I actually can emulate Bing Crosby sometimes if I'm really trying. I'd really rather have Danny Kaye. Danny Kaye was easily the more talented too. He was a songman, dancer, he was a comedian. He could do it all. He could. He was just a talented son of a bitch. And then of course we have the girls. We have Rosemary Clooney, George Clooney's mother, who was beautiful, talented, and Vera Ellen, again beautiful, talented. My God, though, was Rosemary Clooney skinny? Like you look at her. They say, first off, remember, the camera adds about 10 pounds, give or take. you look at her, she's like a Barbie doll, and not in a good way. It's like she's wearing a corset perpetually. But and it's not that it's a good Christmas story. That's a good Christmas story. What it is, it's these guys. They were in the army. They have their general that they all the men loved their general. He was hard but a good guy. And then they get out of the army. They make it big, and then they meet the girls. They end up going to the hotel, and lo and behold, he's the owner of the hotel, and he's feeling a little not unappreciated. He's just feeling like he's not of any value anymore. He wants to go back in the army. They don't say he can't go back in the army, so he's feeling as though he doesn't mean anything anymore. So what do? They bring the guys back about as much as the unit as they could, and they just go and they surprise him, and they just have this giant opening for him. He walks in, he sees all of them in rank. It's like General or like a Tan Hut, and he just sees them, and you can as stoic as that face as he makes, you can see the gratitude and the appreciation and just the thanks he has for these men for doing this for him. You can nearly see you can almost see his eyes just start to tear up. He's just so happy to see all this, and it's just one of those heartwarming feelings where you see this man who's been feeling so like so basically used up in this world, so done that you can see like almost life brought back to his eyes, basically. And it's just such a great feeling. Is it perfect? No. It still has like tropes, like all the acting I think is fine, but the woman who played the landlady, not her landlady, or she wasn't the landlady because General was landlord. She was like the crap. She was like one of the innkeepers, basically. She basically causes a fucking the she, one of the one of the things that I agree with some people about cliches and stuff like I don't like the unnecessary fucking confusion and the problem where things are not completely understood and someone gets upset at someone else for a different reason. I don't like that, and this one movie could have and this scenario would have avoided it if this woman had not just been a nosy little busybody and just misinterpreted something and listened on the phone all the time. She basically caused a problem that did not exist is what she did. And I honestly, anytime I watch this movie, I'm like, why did you fucking... I don't know. One of these days, I want to see a movie where that problem happens, but they actually stay, talk it out, listen to it, and realize, oh, wait, that's not what happened. One of these days, I want to see a movie that does that. I'm sure it may exist, but I have not seen it yet. But no, yeah, I mean, it's the 1950s. It was one of the, it's in Technicolor. You can see it's like one of those early films that was in Technicolor, and it looks good for the time. Absolutely, it does. So absolutely, I love White Christmas to death every year, every Christmas Eve, White Christmas all the way. But I can only really watch it about once a year, and I can only watch it about Christmas Eve. That's the only time I watch it, despite the fact I love the movie, because obviously, very rarely can you watch a Christmas movie outside the Christmas season. So my final movie, my number one, and just to recap, go down the list again. We have Jim Carrey's Grinch, Ernest Saves Christmas, 'Twas the Night, and White Christmas. So my number one is, lo and behold, A Christmas Carol. Now, when I say Christmas Carol, I have two particulars in mind. The George C. Scott one, that's one I've in recent years come to really like and really appreciate for what it is. It's George C. Scott, for God's sake. And I'll talk about that one first because it's not my legit favorite one. That's my second to last favorite one. So on the number one slot, it's divided into two different Christmas carols. That's my second one. It's my favorite one comes after this. But no, George C. Scott. George C. Scott is one of those great actors. Patton, for God's sake. The voice of the villain in Rescuers Down Under. I love George C. Scott. George C. Scott is awesome. And it's a great take on it's a great redoing of the old classic. It's about as dark as the original one. The ghost, all the three ghosts, the ghosts of Christmas Past as a woman. She helps. She shows him, his past and all that. And that's a particularly great scene. There's times where you just see George C. Scott just analyzing his past and it's like, did I make the right choice? I think I made the right. Well, maybe oh crap, I missed out. But then so no, and of course then it goes to Christmas Present, who again I will always argue the fact that I think that he was pretty changed after the Ghost of Christmas Present. It was basically that the fear, once the Ghost of Christmas Future came around, it was legitly the fear of death that basically factored in. It's like, okay, I'll change, because that's gonna do that to most people. Most people are gonna be like, if I'm gonna die in the next couple of years, unless I change, I'm gonna change. Change for the better. I don't want to die. So I can't count the Ghost of Christmas Future as doing much other than putting the fear of God and death into him. I think the Ghost of Christmas Present where he's learned his most valuable lessons. But I mean, all the actors are great in this. We see parts of the story that I think sometimes get overlooked, like the family whose mortgage was up or something like that. He couldn't pay the mortgage. His We see also the afterwards of him going over to his nephew's for dinner at the end. That's always nice. It's nice. I like seeing him interact with a party again. In that, anytime that it's a word they're basically playing word games, like tight as a drum was the answer to that one. And he's being involved and stuff like that, even though they can't hear him. And they basically says he's like, by the way, if the question tight as blank comes up, the answer is drum. It I like George C. Scott a lot. I like all this. It's got that great Christmas feel. Followed right by my number one Christmas Carol of all time. This is the one I grew up on to death. If I had it on DVD, I really need to pick it up on DVD. I'd be watching it. I'd probably be watching it right now. Is the Muppet Christmas Carol. I grew up on this every fucking year. This is one of the few movies I would watch even outside of Christmas. I love this movie so much because I love the Muppets. First off, there's no denying that I love the Muppets. All the casting is just a perfect choice. Obviously, Kermit's Cratchit. I still can't remember his nephew's name, but he plays Tiny Tim. Piggy's obviously Mrs. Cratchit. They have daughters and sons. Gonzo is Charles Dickinson. Rizzo is his companion, and they're narrating, and they're basically there. Now, when you think Muppets, there's always a human character. Now, when I thought Scrooge, if I were to think just Scrooge and not think anyone else, I would have thought Sam the Eagle might have played Scrooge or something like that. Nope, no. We have a human actor, and he's played by Michael Caine. Michael Caine is Michael Caine, motherfucking Michael Caine. Michael Caine is awesome, and Michael Caine is a great Scrooge. He is, and he gets his own songs and stuff like that. You get the two old geezers as the Marley Brothers, which is great. Um, and Michael Caine, he can sing. I mean, he strains on a few notes, but for what it is, Michael Caine can sing. Got a few lines in a song that's in the he's singing in the past, which is a really very nice song. This has some of the best Muppet songs, I think. Well, not some of the best, but that's some of the better Muppet songs. Because there's my dad just got up. Hello. Don't eat the chicken in there. That's for tomorrow. What? I'm a 1 second. Don't eat the chicken that's in there. The roastery chicken. That's for tomorrow. I'm finishing up a video. But no, I mean the song where he's singing the songs go there's a song where they're basically singing about Scrooge, and that's one. The Marley Brothers get their own song. There's a song in the past where it's very sweet, and then it goes to Christmas Present. This might be my favorite interpretation of the Ghost of Christmas Present because he's essentially Santa Claus. He is. He's just he's jolly and laughing and stuff like that, but he still gets his point across in a way that's good for kids. It doesn't have to be too dark, but dark enough. And then the Ghost of Christmas Future, who is basically the Grim Reaper again. That's all the Ghost of Christmas Future was, is the Grim Reaper on holiday. That's what he does on the off season, I think. So, and then, Scrooge gets one more song at the end. He's, like I said, Michael Caine's got a good singing voice. He strains on a few notes, but other than that, though, I think he does fine. So, that's it. That's my top 5 favorite Christmas movies. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I will see you next year for my next top 5 and other Christmas and other reviews I got planned next week, whatever they may be. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And Merry Christmas to all of you. Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and whatever you may else celebrate. Goodbye.